Welcome to Networks Professionals.
Welcome to today's explainer. Listen, I want you to picture a scenario that literally keeps network admins up at night. You've just walked into a server room, or maybe you've just inherited a completely undocumented network. We call it a dark network. You're standing there staring at a rack of flashing lights and this tangled web of cable spaghetti that looks, well, a bit like modern art, and you have absolutely zero idea what devices are plugged in where. No maps, no labels, nothing. You are the detective, and it is entirely on you to figure this whole mess out.
So let's start with a really fundamental question. How do Cisco devices manage to discover their neighbors in the dark without being explicitly configured to do so? Because amazingly, they do exactly that. They have this completely automated way of reaching out and introducing themselves to whatever happens to be sitting on the other side of that wire.
The answer to that mystery is CDP, or the Cisco Discovery Protocol. I like to think of CDP as the network engineer's ultimate flashlight and X-ray vision combined into one tool. It is a Layer 2, media-independent, proprietary protocol, and its primary, incredibly powerful purpose is to discover and map directly connected Cisco devices. Honestly, it's basically a default superpower built right into Cisco hardware that just hands you an automated, living map of your topology.
You can think of this Layer 2 operation as a darkroom handshake. Because CDP operates strictly at the data link layer, it completely bypasses the need for routed IP connectivity. Actually, let me emphasize that. They don't even need to be on the same subnet. As long as there is a physical cable connecting them, they can reach out in the dark, physically shake hands, and swap intel. It's an incredibly resilient diagnostic tool, especially for those moments when your Layer 3 configurations are completely broken.
And what makes this protocol so entirely effortless is one magic number, 60. CDP is enabled automatically, right out of the box. Every single Cisco device is sending out a heartbeat update, a local advertisement, every 60 seconds. Every minute of every single day, these devices are just constantly whispering across the wire, essentially saying, hey, here's who I am, and here's what I can do.
Now, you might be wondering what exactly is in those 60-second updates. Well, they are packed with a surprising amount of critical neighbor intel. It's not just a simple hello. It's practically a full dossier. They share device IDs, so you know exactly what you're talking to. They share port IDs, which pinpoints the exact interface. You even get the operating system version, the specific hardware platform, and yes, the IP address of the neighbor, all delivered automatically straight to your command line.
Now, I do need to point out a pretty important caveat here. CDP is inherently proprietary. It was designed by Cisco for Cisco, so a non-Cisco switch isn't going to generate these messages. However, it's surprisingly adaptable. While it's meant for Cisco gear, CDP actually possesses the unique capability to pass right through certain intermediate non-Cisco devices. That means it can sometimes still map out your hardware even if there is, say, a third-party unmanaged switch sitting right in the middle of your path.
And this is a perfect illustration of how protocols evolve to become even more useful. Enter CDP version 2, which we can basically call the Enhanced Interrogator. CDP v2 pushes your troubleshooting capabilities even further by actively helping you spot configuration errors. It will explicitly report critical Layer 2 issues, things like VLAN mismatches, where the two ends of a trunk link disagree on their native VLAN, or duplex mismatches. It acts like an automated diagnostic tool just running in the background.
All right, so we know what CDP is doing behind the scenes. Now, let's roll up our sleeves and crack open the command line toolkit. We're going to treat this like a true investigation. We'll start broad and then slowly escalate our commands to zero in on exactly what we're looking for. If you're ever troubleshooting a midnight network outage, I promise you, these are the commands you're going to be typing furiously.
Our investigation begins with the absolute most foundational command in the entire toolkit, show CDP neighbors. When you drop into a device and type this, you are asking for a quick, high-level summary. It spits out a clean table showing all directly connected Cisco devices, the local interfaces, platform types, and remote port IDs. It is the perfect 10,000-foot view to instantly understand your physical attachments. But you know, sometimes a broad summary just isn't enough to get the job done. When you need the complete picture, you append one single word, detail. Running Show CDP Neighbors Detail shifts you into a microscopic view. It digs incredibly deep into the advertisement payload, revealing crucial specifics that the summary hides, most notably the neighboring device's actual IP addresses. This is literally your golden ticket for figuring out how to remotely SSH into the device sitting at the other end of that cable.
But let's be real. What if you're on a massive core switch with dozens or maybe even hundreds of neighbors? Scrolling through all that detail is exhausting. That's where you focus in on a prime suspect. You use show CDP entry followed by the specific device name. This command cuts right through the network noise and returns granular specifics about just one single particular neighbor. It's a surgical strike for information. Okay, here is the crucial twist. This X-ray superpower, it is also a massive vulnerability. Think about it for a second. If an attacker plugs into an open wall jack in your company lobby, you really don't want your switch actively broadcasting its IP address, operating system, and hardware platform straight into their laptop. Sometimes you absolutely need to turn off this X-ray vision to secure your topology from prying eyes. And for that, we need the kill switches. You've got two distinct ways to execute that kill switch. First is the global command, no CDP run. You drop this into global configuration mode and it shuts down CDP entirely across the whole device. Boom, total blackout. Alternatively, you can take a much more surgical approach with no CDP enable. You use this on a single, specific interface, like that vulnerable lobby wall jack we just talked about, disabling updates strictly on that port, all while leaving your internal mapping perfectly intact.
Real quick before we wrap up, it's worth noting the broader networking landscape out there. CDP absolutely reigns supreme in this Cisco environment, but you are definitely going to run into LLDP, the Link Layer Discovery Protocol. They operate very similarly, but always remember the key distinction here. CDP is your specialized tool strictly for Cisco hardware, whereas LLDP is the open standard you're going to rely on when dealing with a mixed vendor rack.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer. But before we go, I want to leave you with a somewhat provocative thought to ponder. In a world where network visibility equals absolute power, when exactly does your automated, highly detailed network map stop being a convenient tool and start becoming a blueprint for an attacker? It's a really delicate balance between effortless troubleshooting and strict security. And as the network detective, that balance is entirely in your hands. Thank you so much for joining me today. Keep learning and stay focused out there.
Thanks for watching.